Let's move to Spain, though, next. LaLiga, big game coming at the San Mamés Athletic Bilbao, taking on Barcelona, who, of course, are now sadly without Lionel Messi. But the big question is, I guess, who can fill his boots, James? A lot of people looking at Memphis Depay, the summer signing, of course, Dutchman, signed by Ronald Koeman. A lot of trust between the pair. They have worked together in the past, and he has made a pretty decent start. An assist in the opening game against Real Sociedad, and another beautiful piece of play to help set up Martin Braithwaite second in that game as well. So he looks like he's confident to fill those boots. But let's be honest, can anyone really do that? I'm not sure.
I mean, have tiny boots ever been bigger? I don't think they ever have. It's unfillable, isn't it? And I was reading this week that no one wants the number 10 shirt, and I do not blame any of them. Anyone who does want the 10 shirt, you're making a huge mistake, because it's just impossible. Memphis Depay is a fantastic footballer. I think he himself will be he'll be quite angry at the situation here, because I think it's a pressure that he doesn't need. He's had that, that move to the sort of gigantic club in Manchester United, and it didn't work. And I think for him, deep down, he'll really, really want this one to work for him, for his legacy, I guess, as a player, or just generally wanting to be successful. So to kind of have to step into this. And I was looking at the average positions for that game against Sociedad. I mean, it's fascinating. Martin Braithwaite is a really integral player for this club right now, because Sergio Aguero is not a happy boy. Braithwaite scoring 2 goals. I think he assisted 1 as well. And then I read reports saying that they're trying to get rid of Coutinho, Pjanic, and Braithwaite. So if Braithwaite is one of those players who makes way, I mean, then Memphis Depay's got to fill the shoes of a central striker as well as Lionel Messi, because I'm not sure you can play the same way as you would have done with Lionel Messi in the team. You didn't need Martin Braithwaite as much, despite Ronald Koeman often kind of looking to him, and I think he's been a sturdy player for them. But overall, if Martin Braithwaite's your starting central striker, with the greatest respect, that's not Barcelona level. And when that happens, add that to the pressure that's going on here at Barcelona, it creates a scary situation. And sooner or later, be it this weekend or next weekend, they're going to start to drop points because they haven't got enough of those guys to get them out of trouble. I feel like the Martin Braithwaite situation is kind of integral to Memphis Depay. Again, if you look at those average positions, those two interlinked all the time, and Pedri as well being the other player. So they need someone up there. Can Braithwaite really do it for the entirety of the season to facilitate those other players? I'm not sure.
The thing that I would say about Barcelona is, you look at Manchester City, for example, last season in the Premier League, winning it without that huge figure in attack. You've got to say it was very much a team effort. You had people like Riyad Mahrez chipping in, Ferran Torres chipping in, Raheem Sterling, of course. We know Ilkay Gundogan had a great season. Kevin De Bruyne when he played, Gabriel Jesus. It was a team.
But they've got their Messi in say De Bruyne, for example, as well.
I'm not sure. Listen, he's a brilliant player and he has a huge impact. But what I mean is, I think there are players in the Barcelona squad who could have as big an impact for their team as someone like Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think just because Lionel Messi's gone, Barcelona's squad is suddenly fallen off a cliff. Antoine Griezmann is there, Ousmane Dembele is there, Ansu Fati is there. Okay, Braithwaite might not be the class that you expect, but currently he's delivering. So why not? You've got Pedri, who you mentioned already. You've got Memphis Depay as well. And all of these players should be chipping in. Sergio Aguero, you mentioned as well. All of these players should be able to weigh in with their fair number of goals and assists to make this a pretty strong attacking lineup. And the players in midfield I haven't even mentioned, who should be able to contribute so that you're never going to replace Lionel Messi, but so that the pain of him leaving isn't as bad as it possibly could be. And there's a
Hugh, let me ask you a question.
On all those players.
Let me ask you this question. How many points does Lionel Messi take with him to PSG? Back in the day, to talk about goalkeepers, saving you 10 points. How many points is Lionel Messi taking away with him?
Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, I'd probably...
It's at least 15, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, I'd say 12 to 15. I'd agree with you. Yeah, 12 to 15 points. But all it takes is one of those other players, and there are some very good players, to have a great, great season. I'm sorry, Antoine Griezmann, you've got to start justifying that salary. It's huge. It's one of the biggest in world football. You look like you're having a great time, but the fans need to see more from you. Memphis Depay, like you mentioned already, could have the bit between his teeth with a point to prove as well. And who knows, he could chip in with a lot of goals. We saw him, he has got an eye for goals last season, scoring plenty of goals. I just think for Barcelona, what might hold them back this season is the off-field stories, really. I think their squad, as we've already seen the opening match, has enough to win most of their games. And by the way, I hate to be disrespectful. I probably will be when I say this. I don't think LaLiga is that strong either this season. If you look at what's going on at Real Madrid, who you would expect to fight for a title, Atletico Madrid, who probably will win the title, as we've already explained this season, both of us picking them as our favourites. I think the reality is Barcelona don't need Lionel Messi to finish in the top three. Now, whether you think that is a good enough return, that's another discussion. But for me, I think if they were outside of the top three in La Liga, I think people would really criticize them. Yeah, they probably will get criticized for not winning a title or not having a strong challenge in terms of a title. And I'm not sure yet if that will materialize. But ultimately, if you're third in La Liga, given everything that's going on, I don't think they will be criticized in the same way as if they had a Lionel Messi. Let's put it that way. So for me, I'm not sure that, like I say, they need Lionel Messi to have a strong season in La Liga. It's elsewhere that they'll really feel the pain. Champions League campaign, etc. They need someone as good as him in that competition. That's for sure.
I think that's it for me. I see that wave on the horizon. When we talk about Liverpool, we talk about Barcelona. It's the same thing. Once you get to October, November, it's Wednesday, Saturday or Sunday, or whenever it is. It's those 2 games a week, 3 games a week, essentially. And that's a lot for them to deal with. And when you made an interesting point there about La Liga as well. And I was reading that in La Liga, generally the amount that's being spent on players is about 2 million. In the Premier League, it's about 9 million. And, on a one season basis, that's one thing. But that's been going on for quite a while. And when you've got more money, you get the better players. And I think there is something in the fact that La Liga is maybe not as strong as it has been in previous years. The final thing I thought was interesting, Ansu Fati. That's a great point. Like before he got injured, and again, it's a bit like Virgil van Dijk. It was a big injury. He needs to come back strong for them. And that's a lot of pressure on a very young man. And speaking of pressure on young men, Pedri, the amount of games that this man, and I say man loosely, this is an 18-year-old who played 73 games last season, 52 games for Barca, 21 games for Spain. That's including the Euros and the Olympics. He's then skipped his vacation and come back to play in that first game against Real Sociedad. And he looked, and then maybe we're looking for it, he looked a little bit tired. The point I'm making here is that the pressure is huge. And you've got players that haven't stepped up before. And you've got players that have been able to step up, but are going to wilt sooner or later. And they've got to be very careful with Pedri, haven't they? Because you can't, sooner or later, we've seen it with the likes of Michael Owen in the past, mentally and physically, it's incredibly draining to play that amount of games, regardless if you're saying out loud that I want to play all these games, surely.
It's an insane situation, actually. For a player as young as him, who has been so good so far and continues to develop, the impact that he's had for his club and his country has been magnificent so far. But you have to take care of the kid. I mean, let's be honest, he will have soon at least a muscular injury or fatigue, given the number of games that he's playing. Remember, he might be 18 years old. There might be youthful exuberance. He's never had to do this before. It's the first time in his life that he's played a full season in terms of senior football, and to play that many games, by the way, more than any other player in Europe's top 5 leagues last season. So that's how many games he's actually played. I think he needs to be given a rest. Apparently he turned down the opportunity to go on holiday, wanted to come back and play with the team. Someone has to take responsibility for taking care of him, because I believe he's going to play a key part in terms of next year's World Cup for Spain. And what does he do? Just keep playing all the way through this season, have a small break next summer, get back straight into it. He will be so jaded. Someone's going to have to take care of him at some point. Whether that means that Luis Enrique doesn't call him up for the next set of matches, I think he's too important to Spain to leave him out. So he probably will get called up. Barcelona are probably going to have to give him, and this is the difficult thing during the season, a couple of weeks off, maybe a few weeks off. What does he do? Not train? Does he go on holiday, just enjoy himself, put his feet up during a season? It's very, very difficult, because, of course, the body then shuts down and you have to start all over again in terms of getting it right up to speed. He's been magnificent, as I say. And I expect more from him as well. But it's a really key player for Barcelona to make sure they take care of. I'd expect him maybe to do a hamstring or a calf muscle very soon, given the number of games that he's played. So keep an eye out for that. One thing that I'd say about this game against Athletic Bilbao at the weekend, though, James, because I think it should be an easy one for us to predict, because I do think Barcelona are very good in that first match. Antoine Griezmann loves playing against Athletic Bilbao. 9 goals and 6 assists over the 3 clubs that he's played for previously against Athletic Bilbao. He just enjoys it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the bad thing. I don't know. But he really enjoys it. The San Mamés should be a good place for him to play once again. So I expect Barcelona to win this one. If I had to choose a score, maybe 3-1. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a funny feeling about this one. Inaki Williams, that guy, I love him. I love watching him play. And I do just wonder if we may start to see the sort of those elements of wilting or the feeling that the chemistry isn't there right now. I think, what Ronald Koeman, I think weirdly, he'll be kind of happy with the situation that he has now. Someone who had 0 power when he walked in, he's now, quite possibly, hopefully for them, going to be the savior for them. So I think that dynamic might help them a little bit with the quality players. You've got Frankie de Jong in there, you've got Busquets in there and all those players. I expect them to win it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a draw in this one, maybe a 1-1 draw in this, especially with it being at Bilbao for this one.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.